Order. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of the minutes from the regular meeting held on June 13th, 2019. Are there any changes or corrections?
None.
I have none.
There, stand approved as presented. The next item is consider approving the financial statement for the month of May 2019.
Thank you. This is a financial summary for the City of Hayes, month ended May 31, 2019. Revenues in May totaled $2,113,692. That's an increase of $138,482 when we compare to the same period last year. Some increased revenues when we compare to May. Employee benefit insurance refunds were up $7,673. That's for a 2018 KMET premium audit refund received. Court fines and public safety revenues were up $11,600 as compared to a year ago. And month-to-date water consumption is up 17%, which translates into an increase of 14.5% water and 79% conservation revenues. Year-to-date, total consumption is down 4%, with revenue up 2.5%. One item of decreased notable airport fuel sales was off $4,500 due simply to the timing of receipts as compared to last year. Expenditures in May totaled $1,929,027, which is a decrease of $109,000. Repairs to buildings and structures at the airport were up $14,000 due to maintenance on the gate. Reserves expenditures for commission capital, stormwater, and water were all up $1,308,000 as compared to a year ago due to the approved reconstruction of 4th, Elm, and Ash Streets. Debt service for stormwater management was up $119,832 as compared to last year as we made the transfer to pay off the idle funds on the 2012 project. It was paid a little early, as cash was available and there were interest cost savings in doing so. And one item of decrease, new equipment reserve expenditures fell $18,000 when compared to this time last year as there were mowers purchased this year and police vehicles purchased a year ago. Month-to-date, general fund sales tax collections were at $591,210. That's a decrease of $15,000 or negative 2.5% as compared to last year. Year-to-date, general fund sales tax collections are at $2,988,710, up $67,552 or 2.3%. The 6-month average is at 2.09, which is a 2.23 increase when compared to a year ago. The report of top 10 quarter-to-date sales tax collections by classification was down $141,282 or negative 7.6% when compared to this time last year. These top 10 now represent 73% of the total sales tax collections for May. And the portfolio certificates of deposit on May 31, 2019 totaled $59.75 million with a weighted average interest rate of 2.47. That's up 0.87 from a year ago. Total balance of the money market account on May 31 was $3.75 million with a current yield of 0.9. Total investments are up $5.693 million when compared to this time last year, as we took our final draw on the revolving loan for the reconstruction of the wastewater facility, the receipt of which was in May.
I'll make a motion that we accept the financial statement for the month of May 2019.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just an observation that I was up here on page 5 that water usage was increased. Given all the rain we've had and the cool weather, it just kind of surprised me.
I didn't compare what the weather was like May a year ago, however. I don't remember if...
Is that a year to date?
It didn't start raining till the end of May.
Last year, yeah.
That's what it was.
And I want to make something clear. I think this got a little confused in public. We're happy when people don't use water. And so when we heard last month that water usage was down and therefore revenue was down, none of us were concerned. We're happy when people conserve. And I appreciate Commissioner Phelps' comments. We are a little shocked when it goes up, but if people don't use it, we're okay with that.
You know, Mayor, I'm glad you said that. I had many people comment that we were complaining about it being down,
nope.
and actually
I
just
mean-
just the opposite. We're all very excited when it's, you know, down because people aren't using
All
it.
our efforts are direct for
Yes.
years now have been directed for decreased water usage, or we wouldn't have given away 10,000 flow shower heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a statement of fact by the finance director in his finance report that revenues were down because of usage. Yeah,
Exactly.
We're not complaining either.
Kudos to the community, really.
Exactly, yeah.
One thing to consider, too, is, you know, these are May receipts. and we bill each week, so we have 4 cycles. So we might be catching a little of the tail end of April on some of those receipts when we compare apples to apples.
Kim, how confident are you on page 10? We've got the sales tax by industry classification, the top 10, and we have some wildly different figures, not just in automobiles, which is actually not wild, but certainly building materials, supermarkets, and then the one that's merchant wholesalers, which is half.
I did a little research, and if I remember correctly, one of them changed their classification code on it.
Okay, I wondered about that. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Citizen comments, we appreciate people here in the audience. We appreciate those of you at home or watching us later. We really appreciate your interest in city government. Please come forward. State your name for the record. Thank you.
Chad Meitner, principal at Thomas More Prep Marion. And I just simply wanted to give a thank you to the city. Most notably, the person of contact I had the most contact with was John Brown at the city, particularly about the flashing crosswalk that was installed on Hall Street recently. Going back a couple of years even, there was a TEEP study done with KDOT, and John Brown had worked with us and the administration at Laughlin to really look at that and make that happen. And all the results and findings from that helped kind of make us look at how we could make the traffic flow there safer for the students, the families, and just for the citizen in general going through that area, especially in the mornings and the afternoons. So one of the items suggested by that study was a crosswalk, and I thank the city for listening to that and installing that, and it looks great, and we're excited that not only our students, but even the folks who use the campus for walking their dogs or jogging or for whatever reason can now cross there, and it's a great thing. So thank you, and thank you, John Brown, and everyone else involved.
Very kind of you to come
Thank you.
forward
We
for
appreciate
that. It's
that.
very nice to hear that every now and then. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no others, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I'm going to approve this in a motion. Unless there are objections, it's a Sarah Malt beverage license application for Tiger Burgers. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I'm going to go with Commissioner Phelps. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 5-0. No unfinished business, we move on to new business, property liability coverage renewal for 2019-2020. Authorize city manager to renew the property coverages in the NPR package, and then we're going to consider funding it.
Good evening, Commissioners. Kim Rupp, Director of Finance. I'm here to discuss the property liability coverage renewal for 2019-2020. Last week, we also had Christina, our broker with A.J. Gallagher, and Jason McMahon from NPR in attendance, so I'll do a quick review of what they had to say here in a few minutes also. As you may recall, we changed from Brit Insurance to Midwest Public Risk back in 2017. This chart shows a historical perspective of our annual premiums. Our broker did pull the marketplace, and both Brit and Travelers, who we've had insurance with in the past, declined to quote as they could not provide a competitive bid. Brit also stated that due to increased claims on their part, or on our part, I guess, I'm sorry. As you can see, our renewal for next year, 2019-2020, is an increase of $4,475, or a 2% increase. That increase was capped at 2% for all members of NPR for this renewal. However, given a reappraisal that was conducted in August of 2018, I'll caution that we'll likely see a significant increase in our required contributions at the next renewal, given values have jumped quite a bit. As you can see on the bottom of the chart, the most notable change was in buildings with an increase of almost $15.6 million. So I wanted to review just a little bit about NPR. NPR is a pool of public entities that include cities, schools, counties, health departments, fire protection districts, ambulance districts, election boards, and housing authorities. Their services go beyond just property and liability coverage, as they really are a true risk prevention advisor. They also offer facility and work practice reviews, which Jason was out last week just before the meeting, and looked through the parks, had some very kind words about our parks. And they offer online and site-based training, which our police department took good advantage of this past year, saving about $2,000 in online training expenditures. The city took advantage of the loss control credit program NPR offers this year. 3% of the city's contribution is set aside that is designed to be used for projects that specifically reduce exposure to future property and liability and or work comp claims. This past year, the city was able to purchase safety communication devices for several buildings, an AED device for CVB, desk riser for several employees, and new access control devices for City Hall. All that totaling more than $13,000 in contributions returned to the city. We've been very pleased with our experience this past year with NPR, both in services offered and claims response. Last week, we had a representative from our broker here and reviewed the state of the market. From what we learned, we had two basic takeaways. One is that our renewal increase of 2% is well below the average market rate increase of 6%. We also learned that insurance carriers are becoming more selective due to a huge influx of applications because of rate increases, and also that carriers are tremendously cautious, particularly due to convective storms that include tornadoes, hail, and wind. And our broker did approach Brett and Travelers to see if there was any interest. They are both carriers we've had policies with before. Brett declined due to past loss experience, and Traveler declined given they could not meet NPR's renewal this year. A.J. Gallagher does not go out to full market every year. Doing so would shorten the list of vendors for us, as they are not willing to go through the work, especially at this time, given their workload with other applications. Then we had our risk advisor for MBR address a concern we have going forward. In August 2018, MPR contracted to have a property reappraisal completed. This resulted in an increase in property values on our schedule in the amount of $15.6 million, top three of which you see here on this chart. We did some analysis outside of that appraisal report just to confirm it. Staff contacted Burns & McDonald, and they did confirm for us that the appraisal was accurate on these top three. In our opinion, this is a necessary evil. We certainly want to make sure we have property covered for the value we have in them. But as you may have guessed, this will have repercussions going forward in the form of increased contribution requirement on the part of NPR. Just using some rough math, using this year's rates, the increase next year could be north of $25,000 in contribution required. I did speak with the CEO of NPR, and they are very amenable to possibly stepping that increase in for us over the next 2 or 3 years. Obviously, we're going to want to take a careful look at this and use our broker to do so, shop the market, hopefully. So, two options available: renew the policy with NPR or provide staff with further guidance. We ask tonight that you authorize the city manager to renew the 1920 property liability coverages with NPR.
Is there a motion?
I move we authorize the city manager to renew the 2019-2020 property liability coverages with the NPR package in the amount of $228,228.26 to be funded from the intergovernmental insurance and surety line item.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I think given the tornadic activity we've seen in the last few years, it's we were very fortunate that we didn't have some catastrophic weather incident here, especially when you look at like the water treatment plant. I think it was 1.2 versus the new appraised value somewhere around $9 million. So that would have been quite a blow to the city to have to come up with that for rebuilding purposes. So.
Same with flooding, although flood insurance is different from this. We've been fortunate. We've had a lot of rain last year and this year, and we've not had the flooding that we've had historically. So you're right. And I think part of it is nature, and then part of it, staff's done a really good job of making sure their infrastructure is prepared. Not for tornadoes, of course, but for other things.
So, question I have, we're getting ready to do the budget for next year with that big increase. Is that already figured into the budget, or is?
Kim did figure an increase in
Take that
there.
into consideration.
Okay. I figured you would.
Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commission queries and comments. Do you have anything?
I would actually just add one thing. Today was the last on-site monthly meeting at the wastewater treatment facility. The project will be final completion sometime in the next couple of weeks. They're working on very small punch list items. We did substantial completion. I just authorized the letter from our engineer. Substantial completion was on June 3rd, meaning the liquid side's up, the solid sides are up, all of the processes are working. Now it's just small punch list items or some things we're making sure that we get tweaked with some of the vendors. Next month, we're going to have the entire design build team in front of the commission to give one final update. There will be an opportunity for you guys to go out there and see the improvements as well.
Under budget, yes?
Yes, under budget and under schedule,
Fantastic. Doesn't get better than that.
ahead of schedule. That's all I have.
Commissioner Phelps?
My compliments to last Sunday night's police department that were on duty for taking their time on Monday morning then to go and take care of an elderly lady's house and clean things up. I thought that was very admirable and really a source of pride for myself as a commissioner.
Mr. Millick?
I believe the city manager said that 43rd Street east of Vine is now open.
Yes, that's open. The contractor was restriping 45th Street, and I believe that should have been finished up today, so that should be all back to
Drew it.
normal.
It's fantastic.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jacobs?
I have nothing.
Just want to say happy July 4th, and please be careful with harvest just starting with, especially people on the outside of town. A lot of people are just starting harvest, and hope everybody has a safe holiday.
We're adjourned.